Today, we're going to talk about a very serious problem. It's something that you may not think happens in today's world or in your own community. We're talking about a type of modern-day slavery called human trafficking. Human trafficking is when one person uses another person for personal or financial gain. It occurs when someone is recruited, hidden, or transported against their will for the purpose of forced labor, involuntary servitude, slavery, or for a commercial sex act that financially benefits the trafficker. Traffickers are smart. An intimate relationship or job may start out consensual, but over time, things spiral out of control. A person may be forced or manipulated to work for someone or provide services when the trafficker uses force, fraud, or coercion to maintain control. It's important to understand how traffickers maintain control so that you can protect yourself and others. The trafficker maintains control over victims by removing their freedom. Traffickers often control the money, food, personal identification, and living conditions of victims. Victims often have no personal possessions besides what's been given to them by the trafficker and are not allowed to speak for themselves. Access to basic things, such as knowing what time it is or the date, may be restricted. Victims are often moved frequently to confuse them about their current location. They are isolated from friends and family. Traffickers often provide illegal drugs to victims, maintaining control through access to drugs. Imagine how helpless you might feel if all of your freedoms were taken away. Human traffickers use a lot of emotional and psychological manipulation. Human traffickers also use a process to create a trauma bond. Everyone wants to feel connected and loved by other people. We have a natural desire to have relationships. Relationships help create bonds. In healthy relationships, there are positive and productive bonds. However, in unhealthy relationships, there are destructive or trauma bonds. The creation of a trauma bond is an intentional process. The abuser or trafficker starts by fulfilling the needs of the victim. The use of secrecy and isolation creates even more dependence. The trafficker then begins to take control by manipulating the money, managing the victim's time, and providing drugs, food, or shelter. The victim becomes dependent upon the trafficker and is manipulated by false promises. Traffickers use the bonds that have been formed to convince the victim to do things in the name of love. In the beginning, the victim may be willing to please the trafficker. However, in time, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse may be used to maintain control and keep the victim a slave. The trauma bond makes it very difficult for the victim to leave. When you think of slavery, you may think of life in the southern states before the Civil War, when it was legal for one person to own and profit from another person. You may have learned about President Abraham Lincoln, who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed the slaves at the end of the Civil War, making slavery illegal. Sadly, all these years later, slavery continues to take place in the form of human trafficking. During the Civil War, there were heroes that risked everything to do the right thing and rescue slaves from the South. The Underground Railroad was a network of secret routes and safe houses used to transport slaves to freedom. The people who helped free the slaves were called conductors. They stood up and used their personal power to help other people who were in unsafe situations. One conductor, Harriet Tubman, is the person who is often associated with helping slaves to freedom through the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman led people to the home of a man named Thomas Garrett in Wilmington, Delaware. He then arranged to move the people to safety in southern Pennsylvania. A man named William Sill helped to find homes for the slaves who fled the South. These are examples of historical heroes, but you may need to be a modern-day hero to someone that you know. If someone is being forced to do something against their will, or maybe they don't even realize that they're being controlled and used by someone else, you may need to step in and use your personal power to help them get out of an unsafe situation.
Hey girls, thanks so much for hanging back after class for a few minutes. I want to ask you to do me a favor. You may have heard we have a new student at the school named Andrea. She's from out of town and I think she's a little bit shy. Can you ask her to join you for lunch? I think it really would mean a lot to her if you invited her to sit with you.
Sure, yeah, that'd be fine.
I can talk to her after English, and we have the same class before lunch, so we can walk and meet Melanie there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, and I think Andrea will too.
So, Andrea, do you like it here? Is it like your old school?
Yeah, it's basically the same. I've moved a lot. This is my 9th school.
Whoa, that's a lot of schools. Me and Melanie have lived here our entire lives. I went to kindergarten with her, and I basically have the same friend group as I did when I was 5 years old. But it must have been hard moving around so much.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I can't really do anything about it.
What? You're right.
What's so funny?
Rachel likes him. He's hoping he'll ask her to the school dance next month.
Are you going to the dance?
No, I have a boyfriend, and he would not go to the middle school dance.
You have a boyfriend? That's so cool. Where does he go to school?
He doesn't go to school. Like, he's older. He works.
He's older? Like how old?
I don't know. Just older. But he's really cool. Takes me places and buys me gifts. You know, since I move around a lot and don't live with my mom anymore, so I'm really lucky to have him.
Wow, that sucks that you don't get to see your mom.
I mean, kinda. But she was never around anyways. So when I met Matt, he was really nice, and he cares about me, so I want to make him happy. So when he asked me to do this stuff for him, it's no big deal. I finally have someone in my life I can count on.
Who's that?
It's Matt. He has some stuff he wants me to do for him after school. But it's okay, it's the same stuff I always do.
What if you came to hang out with us after school instead?
Yeah, that could be cool, but I don't think Matt would like that very much. I really have to do this stuff for him. One time when I didn't do what he asked me, he got really mad. I got really scared. And I know he never means to hurt me, but I'd better not risk it today. I'll see you guys later.
Hi girls, I wanted to thank you again for inviting Andrea to sit with you at lunch. It's never easy being a new student. How did it go?
Miss Winter, we need to talk to you. Something just didn't seem right.
Did it seem right? What do you mean?
Andrea was telling us about her boyfriend, and he seems older. Like, we don't know how old, but he doesn't go to school.
Wow, this is a concern. Did she tell you anything else about him?
She said that he loves her, and she does stuff for him. We don't know what that means, but whenever she says no, he gets really mad, and I think he's even hurt her before.
She said she's moved around a lot and she doesn't live with her family. I don't know, it just seems like she'll do whatever he wants because he says he loves her and she wants to make him happy. It's really creepy and scary, too. I feel really badly for her. We don't know exactly what's going on, but it just doesn't seem okay.
You're right. This is a concern. I'm so glad you shared this with me. I will be looking into this.
Melody and Rachel noticed that something was not right with Andrea. Did you notice the red flags?
What's so funny?
Rachel likes him. He's hoping he'll ask her to the school dance next month.
Are you going to the dance?
No, I have a boyfriend, and he would not go to the middle school dance.
You have a boyfriend? That's so cool. Where does he go to school?
He doesn't go to school. Like, he's older. He works.
He's older? Like how old?
I don't know. Just older.
Besides her boyfriend being older, Andrea shared some other things that were alarming.
He's really cool. Takes me places and buys me gifts. Since I move around a lot and don't live with my mom anymore, so I'm really lucky to have him.
She told the girls that she no longer lives with her mother. Many kids may not live with their mom or dad, but they usually live with someone who can protect them and keep them safe. Andrea's boyfriend, Matt, takes her places and buys her things, but that comes at a price. He requires her to do things for him in exchange. She is secretive and being controlled by Matt.
Who's that?
It's Matt. He has some stuff he wants me to do for him after school. But it's okay, it's the same stuff I always do.
What if you came to hang out with us after school instead?
Yeah, that could be cool, but I don't think Matt would like that very much. I really have to do this stuff for him. One time when I didn't do what he asked me, he got really mad. I got really scared. And I know he never means to hurt me, but I'd better not risk it today. I'll see you guys later.
Andrea is a modern-day slave. There is an imbalance of power, and she is being controlled and manipulated. It's so important to understand potential dangers and the tactics used to control others. Matt took Andrea places, bought her things, gave her a place to live. She thought he cared for her and loved her, but in reality, he's using her for his own gain. Andrea believes Matt's promises and is connected to him by a trauma bond. This bond makes it very difficult for Andrea to realize that she is in an unhealthy relationship and must leave. In situations like this, when you see something that doesn't seem quite right, you must tell a trusted adult. Human trafficking is a real problem. You or someone you know may be at risk. As we learned today, it is so important to know the tactics used by human traffickers. Traffickers form relationships and use false promises to convince teenagers that they have a great job, a wonderful place to live, a new relationship, or some exciting adventure. Many times, traffickers use drugs to manipulate and use teenagers. You need to protect yourself and others from being vulnerable to these tricks. Remember, if you or someone you know is in an unsafe situation, tell a trusted adult right away. You can also get help from the National Human Trafficking Resource Center hotline at 888-3737-888 or text HELP to 233-733. You could help free someone who's been trapped into servitude, just like Harriet Tubman and the other members of the Underground Railroad helped to free the slaves during the Civil War. You can be the lifeline that will bring someone to freedom.